Greetings. My name is Leah Mason, and please join me on my journey to how I created my latest artwork piece, entitled Pieces of Me, for my Critical and Creative Thinking course at Brenau University. It started with a sketch. I was tasked with the assignment of creating a tangible object after first researching 6 amazing creative thinkers, while also incorporating myself into the object. So, I decided to make an artwork piece on canvas. In order to personalize the canvas from the focus of this piece not just being about the artist, I decided to paint a silhouette of myself by filling the inside of her body, with each artist being represented by a particular fabric, and the outline of her body, hair, and the background to represent me. So, why fabric? I'm glad you asked. I wanted the painting to have different dimensions, textures, and colors, and thought that fabric along with some acrylic paint would be the perfect items needed to bring together my painting and tell a story of both who I am as well as the artist. So, let's begin. Anna Halpern was born on July 13, 1920 in Wilmette, Illinois. She's best known for her contributions to the dance world and how she uses dance to address social issues, build community, foster both physical and emotional healing, and connect people to nature. Anna began dancing at the age of 5 and has lived a life dedicated to inspiring generations of students, artists, and teachers to dance. She graduated from the University of Wisconsin in 1942 with her BA. She met her husband Lawrence Halpern at this university, and they now have 2 daughters, Daria and Raina. Along with her formal dance training, she uses dance as a way to express her life experiences and bring healing to both her and those around her. Her experience became her script and motivation to bring together people from various backgrounds. Anna's a very passionate individual who loves inclusiveness, dance, love, and diversity. She describes herself as having an enduring love for dance and its power to teach, inspire, heal, and transform. I selected a black and white fabric of music notes to represent Anna because when it comes to dance, there must be music. I took my very first ballet class at the age of 5, and I've been playing violin since I was 9 years old. When searching for a fabric to represent Anna, I wanted it to be black and white because in the 1960s, she brought together a group of an all-black and a group of all-white dancers in a collaborative performance entitled Ceremony of Us. I'm someone who loves bringing together people from multiple backgrounds, and when I saw this fabric, I knew that it was the perfect representation of both Anna and I. Kathy Johnson. She was born on October 2nd, 1972 in Independence, Missouri. Kathy has worked as a naturalist, writer, and freelance artist for the past 30 years and served as staff naturalist and contributing editor for Country Living magazine for 11 years. She has written and illustrated 34 books of her own and founded her own small publishing company in 1993. Her first husband died in 1997, and her current husband, Joseph Ruckman, is an accountant who also serves as her idea man and proofreader. Together they have illustrated a blog that focuses on cooking, nutrition, and economy. This blog is called Starving Artists in the Kitchen. She's a very easygoing individual who's also very respectful. She does not like to worry about anything and also strives to make the most of each opportunity. Although I could not find a lot of details on her educational background, I do know that her experience in the field has allowed her to flourish as a naturalist and writer. My favorite statement I saw on one of her blogs was this. She said, "Making art is like breathing to me. It's sustaining, it's healing, it's delight. It's how I celebrate, it's how I learn, it's how I show love, care, and respect. It's how I cope." I could not agree with her more, because as I was creating this project, I found it to be very healing and relaxing. I chose a fabric of green leaves to represent our love for nature. She uses leaves and nature scenes in many of her paintings, and when I attended Brenau's Women's College for my bachelor's degree, I was a part of their undergraduate research program that studied endangered plants in Georgia, so I knew that finding a fabric with green leaves would represent both of us very well. Marion Milner was born in 1900 and is known as someone who, in many ways, was a pioneer in an integrative form of psychoanalysis. She grew up wanting to be a biologist or painter and then thought about teaching children, but instead decided to study psychology and attended University College London. She comes from a distinguished scientific family, and her brother, P.M.S. Blackett, was an atomic physicist and Nobel Prize winner. She married engineer and inventor Dennis Milner, and they have one son. As she went through life, she decided to keep a journal, and these entries ended up becoming the book entitled A Life of One's Own. She has a very personal approach in the way she writes by basing her writing on practical experience rather than strictly following the established theories of psychoanalytic thinkers. She believes that in order to achieve your own personal sense of meaning, you must make a sacrifice of the old self and plunge into emptiness, from which one develops a trust that, out of the unconscious, something new and valuable can grow. For Marion, I decided to pick a fabric that had a lot of words to represent a journal entry. I've been keeping a journal since I was 9 years old, and I want to be a writer who uses my experience to help others on their journey through life. I want to share my story with the world and inspire as many people as I possibly can. Margaret Annie Johnson was born in St. Louis, Missouri on April 4, 1928. She was a poet, civil rights activist, author, and activist. Growing up, she had a difficult childhood. Her parents split when she was young. She and her older brother were sent to her grandmother's house. Her mother's boyfriend raped her when she was 7, and in revenge, her uncles ended up killing the boyfriend, traumatizing Maya and causing her to stop talking. Maya attended George Washington High School and then moved to San Francisco, California, where she won a scholarship to study dance and acting at the California Labor School. Her acting career began in the 1950s, but in the 1960s she served as an editor and freelance writer in Egypt and Ghana. Maya was a very compassionate and well-loved person who used her experiences to inspire others. She's received several honors throughout her career, including 2 NAACP Image Awards in the Outstanding Literary Work category in 2005 and 2009. I chose a fabric of birds to represent her poem, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. This poem is one of my favorites because while I was growing up, I was always searching for answers on who God created me to be, which at times caused me to be very shy during my search of discovering who I was. One of the very first moments where I finally felt free was when I performed a poem I wrote in front of the entire student body of Brenau University for the Miss Brenau Scholarship Competition. This was one of the first moments I felt like I started flapping my wings and started flying. Leonardo da Vinci was born on April 15, 1452, in Tuscany, Italy. He was born out of wedlock to respected Florentine notary Ser Piero and a young peasant woman named Caterina, and was raised by his father and stepmother. Growing up, he received little formal education beyond basic reading, writing, and mathematics instructions, but his artistic talents were evident from an early age. He began a lengthy apprenticeship with the noted artist Andrea del Verrocchio in Florence when he was 14 years old, where he learned a wide breadth of technical skills, including metalworking, leather arts, carpentry, drawing, painting, and sculpting. He's known for being a painter, sculptor, architect, military engineer, and draftsman whose constant study of science and nature, along with his curious mind and keen intellect, inspired all his works. His best known works are The Last Supper and Mona Lisa. Leonardo seemed to be a bit of a perfectionist, and his biographies do not mention much about his relationships with his family members, friends, or love interests. For Leonardo da Vinci, I decided to use a fabric that represented the study of science to me. During the 1480s, Da Vinci studied anatomy and dissected human and animal bodies in order to accurately depict realistic gestures and movements in his artwork. I love incorporating science into everything I do. At work, when I'm thinking of new initiatives, I go through the steps of formulating a purpose statement, hypothesis, marking down the materials I need, recording my results, analyzing them, and then drawing conclusions. My undergraduate degree was in biology, but I still look at life through the eyes of a scientist. Ursula K. Le Guin was born in 1929 in Berkeley, California. She was the youngest and only girl among four siblings. Her father, Alfred Kroeber, was an anthropologist, and her mother, Theodora Kroeber, was a writer. She attended Radcliffe College and did graduate work at Columbia University. She decided to attend college because of her love for mythology, but also spends time teaching multiple workshops for the next generation of writers. She married historian and fellow Fulbright scholar Charles Le Guin in December 1953, a few months after they met on a maritime voyage to France. They have 3 children and 4 grandchildren. Ursula has an intensely private life, with sporadic forays into political activism and steady participation in the literary community of her city. She also limits her public appearances mostly to the West Coast, so she does not like being the center of attention. She's an iconic writer known for her science fiction and high fantasy works and writes both poetry and prose and in various modes, including science fiction, fantasy, young children's books, books for young adults, screenplays, essays, verbal text for musicians, and voice text. She's published 7 books of poetry, 22 novels, over 100 short stories, 4 collections of essays, 12 books for children, and 4 volumes of translation. I selected a fabric that represents a map for Ursula because she was raised in a household that encouraged her to explore art, ideas, and cultures. I was also raised in a similar environment. My mother retired from Delta Airlines, so a lot of my time was spent traveling. I wanted the fabric I selected to be a great representation of our similar backgrounds. My love for travel has continued to grow, and it has allowed me to welcome many people from various backgrounds. I believe Ursula's diverse background has also allowed her to be relatable to those who follow and admire her work. So now that I've incorporated all 6 creative thinkers, let's personalize the painting to make it me. We'll start by first outlining the body and the hair. Now we'll fill in the hair to make it look more like mine. Now this painting would not be Leah if pink isn't included. For the finishing touches, we'll give her some eyelashes and a pearl earring for some class. And voila, there you have it. Me as a dancer, a lover of nature, lover of writing, lover of poetry, lover of science, and a lover of exploration. Thank you for watching.